All right. Hey, y'all. How are you? All right. We allow technology some space and cushion to let us, to be gracious to us. And we are on. How are you all? So, you know what time it is. As you're coming in, we ask that you would share this with someone. You have a few minutes to share because I am doing the same thing. Thank you all. Please say hello as you're coming in to join us. We have an incredible time scheduled for you tonight. Just to give you a sneak peek into a conversation with real women, we are looking forward to what we have in store. But we need you to share it out with someone. Let someone know that we're on. Come on in and say hello to us. I am almost done with my sharing, and I hope you're almost done with yours. All right. And I'll go ahead and get started because we want to use all of our minutes talking to our guest. There we go. I'm done sharing. Go ahead and share with someone and let them know that we're on. Would absolutely love for you to do that. My name is Trenace Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women Rock because we do. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to our Wednesday night Facebook Live chat, where we give you a sneak peek into a conversation with real women. And we do this every Wednesday night that we have a guest because we want you to witness a wonderful, real conversation, but we also want you to be a part of a real women conversation. And so we're hoping that you will say hello to us, that you'll put some questions in the chat. I will pose some questions to you. You're welcome to ask myself or our guest any questions that you have. Let's just interact and engage with each other for these next 30 minutes, all right? So, you know how we do at the very beginning of this, we have some highlighted things we want to share with you because we get those out of the way before we dig in. If you go to realwomenrock.org, realwomenrock.org, you'll see some amazing information about our organization. The one thing you need to know is this Saturday, we are going to have yet another virtual sister circle. Our goal is to create safe spaces for women to do personal development work on themselves. And we do that through virtual sister circles during this time. We do have in-person circles pre-COVID and after COVID. We will get back to in-person. But until then, we offer you a space no matter where you are in the world. And so 2 Saturdays out of the month, one of them coming up this Saturday, we focus in on a personal development topic that every woman deals with. And so our topic this coming Saturday is what's in a name. And so whether you're like me, you have a nickname, whether you know some significant story behind your name, whether you have been discriminated against or stereotyped because of your name, whether you have been called out of your name, whatever your situation might be, we want to talk about the significance of our names and how we move forward in truth and strength and power as it relates to who we are. So important. It's connected to our identity, and we want to talk about that. And then at the end of the month, this being September, we're going to close out the hot topics, hot grown women topics we've been talking about this summer. And we're going to talk about the spirituality of sexuality. I said it right, the spirituality of sexuality. You don't want to miss the closing of that conversation so that we can just fully embody all of who we are with confidence and strength. And so those are the announcements. You can go to realwomenrock.org. Again, realwomenrock.org to find out more about our virtual sister circles, our membership, as well as all of the other information, how to connect with us. All of that is there. All right, I see some of y'all coming in. Make sure you say hello to us. Y'all know how we do. Thank you for being here. Make sure that you share this with someone else to let them know that we are here. I am elated to welcome our guest here. And I'll just tell you, I'm going to go ahead and pull her up. But I'll tell you right now, I have been a runner since JV, JL, let me just say, since junior varsity. been a runner, and I got, took a break from it for a while. Life happened, school happened, doctorate happened, all those things, and I came back to it just as leisurely workout. And it has been life saving for me. And I walk too. I take my time and walk too. But I connected with Black Girls Run really early in moving here to Maryland, and just really appreciate the work that you all do. Would you mind saying hello to everyone and anything you want to share about yourself, and then we'll get into a good conversation. Thank you for being here.
Sure. Thank you, Shanae, for having me. As you stated, my name is JL Alexander. I am the owner and CEO of the best running crew, Black Girls Run. I'm also the owner of my own PR firm. So I am a business entrepreneur, definitely at heart. My background is in PR and marketing. Obviously, I love to run, definitely a runner. I've been running for about good 10 years now. I'm also a wife. I'm a mom. I'm a lover of all things water and beach. Sneakers,
oh, you're talking my language. You're speaking my language.
Sneakers, traveling. So yes, I'm just, that's a little bit about me, just in a nutshell.
Yeah, I love that. So much in common. Not just us. We found out we're homegirls.
Yeah, that's what I represent.
Yeah. And so not only that, but so many of our listeners can relate, just really working hard to do whatever we're called to do, whatever we have to do, and then what we're called to do, and juggling that with family and all those things. And so I know that we could talk a whole lot. I've done my homework. I know that you do a lot of interviews and podcasts related to the business of Black Girls Run and the business side of what you do. Welcome to Real Women. so I just really want to start and share with you what we wanted to talk about. Really wanted to dig first into some hard stuff, because even though people invited you to the platform to talk about Black Girls Run or whatever, I heard so many nuggets in your sharing about the hard things you've dealt with in your life and in your story. And I just wanted to share that with our audience, because many of the women that we're in community with are dealing with all of us are dealing with some hard stuff right now, just really everything from the pandemic and the other pandemic, all the racial injustice that's happening right now. It's just a really tough time in our world. And bring it all down, the microcosm in our homes and our communities. But then we deal with our own specific hard challenges.
Yeah.
And so I've put in the chat for you all, because y'all know how we do. This is interactive, and some folks are saying hi to you. I'll make sure I relay some messages to you, JL. But I put in the chat, I want you all to talk about your hard things that you are dealing with in the chat, because we'll come back to that as JL and I have a conversation. I would love for you to put in the chat, and this is a safe space. It's a virtual safe space for these 20 good minutes. So if you would not mind sharing, what hard thing are you dealing with right now, so that we can all just connect virtually. And while they're doing that, I've heard you talk about so many things, JL. But I guess the first thing that comes to mind, because of Black Girls Run and because of my own personal journey, is the roller coaster ride of weight gain and weight loss and trying to, stay healthy and fit and all those things. And I love that you've been so transparent about it. Could you please share a little bit about that roller coaster ride for you personally?
Yeah, and I'm still on it right now. That journey, I think, is probably one of those lifelong journeys, if you will. But growing up, you know, I come from a very active family. My mom and dad are still very active in their 70s. My mom was a health and phys ed professor at a HBCU. So nutrition and physical activity was always a conversation in our household. And I grew up quite active. It wasn't until after I graduated college and got on my own that, you know, trying to cook and trying to be, you know, delve into my career and trying to, you know, have a love life and trying to be social. You know, you were drinking a lot more, eating just whatever. And the weight started coming on. And mind you, this is, you know, that I graduated college in 2008. So this is a while ago, but it's been the last decade. And then I met my now husband. So you put on that good happy weight. And then I went through a period of my career just, you know, just a few years ago where I was definitely pouring a lot into my career. And it was my personal and my work life was really becoming imbalanced. And so, you know, me and my husband were trying to figure out, okay, how are we as a married couple when, you know, you're spending 50, 60 hours at work? And, you know, I'm not eating right. And so weight started coming on. And so this was like back in 2016, 2017, probably up until, you know, I got pregnant a year or so, or a year and a half or so ago. I hit my heaviest weight. And I look back at pictures now and I was like, nobody was going to tell me like I was just looking fluffy around here. Like,
nobody gonna say nothing to me.
Like, because I first see it in my face when my face gets real flush. And I look back at pictures now and I'm like crazy. And then I tried to started working out a little bit more. And the thing is, I've been running for the last decade, but my eating habits were just terrible.
That's half the battle.
That's one of my struggles when I'm like stressed to the wits end and it's a lot going on in my life. Man, just give me a good bowl of Chipotle. And you know, that's where I find my comfort zone. And so my relationship just really got poor with food in terms of how I was dealing with emotions and stressors in my life and so forth. And then I was like, all right, let me start getting serious about my weight. And then I got pregnant. And I was like, all right, so what? But I ran a half marathon at like 8 months.
Wow.
I was super active, super healthy through my pregnancy. But the day I gave birth, and I'm coming up on a year next week, the day I gave birth, I was 304 pounds.
Wow.
I look back at pictures and I was just swole all over.
Somebody in the chat said fluffy. That's what they call it, fluffy.
Hey, it sounds cute, right? So yeah, I hit my heaviest weight, and then once I had my son, I was like, all right, we gotta get this weight off. And now I'm 90 pounds down.
Wow. Hold on. Yes.
But I feel so much better. Like, and so I haven't been this weight. My current weight now, I haven't been this current weight probably in about a good 6 to 8 years. So I just feel so much better now, but it's a continuous battle. I'm like, tonight I didn't cook dinner. And I'm trying to like, all right, Jill, don't call takeout, don't go there, just drink some water,
meal prep
bar, and just, you know, it's too late now to eat. So it's a constant struggle in this household, and then pair that up with, you know, being married, being a new mom. It's a lot. So it's a continuous roller coaster.
And I'll just echo some of that, and we're getting some of those also in the chat. They say you look lovely, JL. Just want you to know. They're saying they don't see whatever you talking about. They said come through. But someone else also
said, I'm tall, so that's what works in my favor. I'm 5'10". So, you know, weight is distributed all over. So I might not look like I hit 300 pounds, but I felt like it.
Yeah. And I'm 5'2", so it just stays, it just shows. Naomi, Sandy said, dealing with others' image of me while dealing with my physical and emotional weight. So some women can definitely relate to what you just shared. I know I can. And so when we are dealing with the stuff of life, our coping mechanisms take over. You know, we're in survival mode oftentimes. And what that means is, you know, if this is stressing me out, I need to do something over here to feel good, you know. And what I've told myself is, well, at least it's just food. It could be worse.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right about that.
And the other thing about it is, honestly, you know, we are always harder on ourselves than someone else is. And so I guess I'll ask you to share how you are dealing with that hard thing, because I love that you said you're still in the throes of it. All of us are, because I do this on a regular basis. I'm always looking, okay, so how, you know, just you can't help but just be cognizant of it. But, you know, I can share some of how I've dealt with it, but I would love to hear, how are you dealing with that hard thing in your life? How do you reckon within yourself? I gotta love me regardless. I gotta be okay with me no matter what.
I mean, I think it's a struggle. It is a struggle for me. You know, it's as my husband says, he likes something to hold on to. But at the same time, you know, you get to a point where you don't feel comfortable in your clothes,
Mm-hmm.
where you don't like it when I go out for a run and my recovery takes a lot longer because my body is hurting.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to be running, you know, that many miles with this much weight. At least for me, like that's how my body responds to extra weight. It just doesn't do well. And so, you know, you get to a point where it's like, all right, you have to do something. And so the way I cope with it, like right now, I'm gonna have to have the shakes for the night. I can't go eat because I have a goal I'm working towards. And I think probably with the birth of my son, like he gives me so much more purpose. Like I have to be here. I have to be healthy. I have to be active for him. And then also like right now, you know, my husband is a big guy too. Now he's getting into running. He's getting more serious about his health.
How cool.
Now my actions are speaking for my entire family. And so if it, you know, as much as the man is the head of the household, the woman's decisions in terms of what we eat, in terms of what we cook, in terms of how active we are, that translates to everybody in the household. So if I say, all right, forget it tonight, we about to go to Popeyes, my husband, trust me, is not going to stop me.
Right, right.
So I have to understand that you know, as women, we wear so many hats, and that our decisions really translate to everybody else in the family. And I think that's the way I've been dealing with it, is that I have so much more to live for than just myself now.
That is so good. So good. Like you, I do feel responsible for my household when it comes to that, right? And so I have, you know, an older daughter here who shops for herself, as well as my son who's getting of age, so he can have a little money and say what he wants. And so many times stuff is here that I shouldn't have and we don't want, that kind of thing. But overall, as far as meals are concerned, it's really important that I take responsibility for that. And one of the ways in which I've coped is or managed it, to just know every day is brand new mercy, brand new grace. So I get to breathe again, start over today. And related to Black Girls Run or whatever activity that you choose to do, I feel better and I want to eat better after I've moved more, you know? So I try to start my day with some level of movement, or lunchtime, just somewhere, because it prompts me to want to drink more water, to fill me up, to want to eat better. So thank you for that. And I love that. Nancy says support is big. So even just putting out there what your goals are, so that someone who loves you and is nearby, even talking about it, like you said, in your house, with your family, I think that's so important. So thank you for that. Yep, we got a lot of agreement on that. Okay, if you could, because we could do this all day, and this is a sneak peek into a real conversation with real women, because we want you to come in to our spaces, our sister circles that we host twice a month. But I would love for you to speak to one other hard thing that is rarely talked about, especially in these kind of public forums. You talked about just having the family and the stresses and all those things. And I've heard you publicly talk about postpartum depression. And just the idea, and I want to relate it and connect it to just functional depressives, you know, manic depressives, just in general, even if it is not necessarily connected to pregnancy. I know many, and having a child, I know many of the women that we are in community with, and Real Women, deal with depression. And we have to act like we have it all together, you know. So could you speak a little bit to your journey about that, and what some lessons are you've learned from it?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna say 360 days ago, I was foolproof superwoman, type A personality, got the schedule to the T, things get done, we moving and shaking.
Mm-hmm.
And the son is born, and all of that.
Wow.
Light it on fire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All of that goes out of the window. And so, you know, when you get discharged from the hospital, they give you this, like, they reading the Bible to you. And
Wow.
I'm like, how am I supposed to process this right now? Too much information.
Right. Do this, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah, like, I'm just trying, like, you gave me a whole human and you trying to give me all this information right now. Like, it's too much.
Yeah.
So all I kept remembering was, when you get day 4, you're going to get this baby blues. And I was like, all right, day 4, baby blues, baby blues. Mm-hmm. Day 4 came, well, day 2 came, and he wanted to, that's a whole nother story. But like, day 2 came, and I was like, forget day 4, day 2 is tough. Like, we were trying to make it through this second night at home. It was rough. And then I'm trying to get through this pediatrician appointment that, you know, our first pediatrician appointment that I'm late for is 8:00 on a Monday morning. And like, I look like a deer in the headlights because I haven't had any sleep. But just fast forward, you know, probably when he got to, I'm going to say probably about a month in, my husband went back to work. Mm-hmm. I'm not a crier. And we just had a rough day. It hit me, and I could not stop crying. I couldn't control. Lord, I hear it in my voice now. And I could not stop crying. I could not get control of myself. And like, I think before I got pregnant, I didn't understand like depression or postpartum depression. And I would see like my family members, friends that were clearly going through it as well. But because I had not gone through it, I didn't understand. And I probably did a little bit of my own shaming against them. Like, oh girl, just snap out of it. Like, oh, this is just temporary, but no, I completely understand now. It's a place that you get to that you're trying to process everything. You're a new person. You got hormones raging.
Yep.
You got a person that you need to take care of. You still need to take care of the household. You know, my husband really didn't understand what was going on. And then I think there was a generational gap between me and my mom. My mom didn't really understand, because, you know, they don't talk about mental health at that age. It's just, you know, you just pray about it. So, you know, she really wasn't understanding what I was going through either. And so, you know, I just remember sending this nasty gram to a few girlfriends, and I was like, y'all, my hair's falling out, breast milk is leaking, boobs are sagging. I went natural with my birth. I had 3rd-degree tears. I couldn't poop for like a good month.
Yes.
Girl had hemorrhoids. It was terrible. It was terrible. And no one talked about that recovery process. Then they give you this 6-week magic number. The hell? 6 weeks over here. It took me like 3-4 months before I felt like, okay, I think I'm almost back to normal.
Right.
Or I feel a little bit better by myself. Girl, it was rough. And so even during that time, I mean, I learned so much more about myself. I think I grew just as a woman. I think I saw your post on your page, like, you start to get older. It's just less stuff that you like. Why are we worried about that frivolous stuff? And like, it's crazy how that happened coming into motherhood. But them first 6 months, whoo, child.
Yeah, it's no joke.
It is no joke. Now I get it when people say you cannot be fully prepared for having a child. Like, you think you'll have the finances in place, all of that. No, mentally, there is no preparation for having a child.
None. And some folks have put in here facts, like, so Lord, them hormones,
And I'm
somebody
still
said.
going through the hormones. I tell you, my husband, he'll say something to me, and he be like, "Jay, why you about to cry?" I was like, "I don't know." Oh my goodness gracious. So it's again another roller coaster that I'm still on. We hitting a year. I feel like I'm celebrating my son's 1 year birthday next year, but I'm celebrating 1 year of rocking through this motherhood thing.
Yes, we celebrating with you. It is no joke, and it's so funny, just kind of combining both hard things, because my son is 11 now, and I think he was probably 5 or 6, and I was still saying, I got this baby weight on me. This is just baby weight. He was 5 or 6 years old walking around.
They talk about that snapback. Nah. Ain't no snapback. No, there's no such thing.
Snapback when you got all the help and the support and the nannies and the cooks and maybe that's the snap.
It's no such thing as a snapback. I've never worked this hard in my life to get this weight off. Never worked this hard in my life. And like you said, and I respect to the single mothers, because if I did not have a village, oh no, it would be a whole different story over here.
But you know what, also, and I'm so glad you said village, because it has been said more than once in the chat right now about community and support being so important. But I love the fact that, we're just honest and real about all of this. Nancy says she still says baby weight, and her baby's 29.
Nancy's one of my members out in Los Angeles.
Oh, cool. She is. She hanging with us. I feel you, Nancy. So I really appreciate just the realness of your journey and all that you've been through. I want to transition just to honor your time and those who have to get to dinner and all those things, because this kind of all goes together. I don't think that Black Girls Run, I don't think that your PR consulting firm, the Bond Strategy, I don't think that those would be the successes that they are without you being the authentic person that you are. Just really just stepping up and moving forward in a real, honest way. I think that resonates with people. And so if you wouldn't mind sharing just, anything you want to share about the balance between just, first of all, having 2 businesses, bless your heart. I know what it feels like, because the nonprofit side of what I do is Real Women. And then all of the speaking and all those, and writing and all those things that I do, I empathize. I really feel you. And I think many women wear a million hats. And so because of that, how do you manage? Could you speak to how you're able to manage it all? What are some of your go-tos as it relates to doing it all?
Yeah, so there's absolutely no cookie cutter approach. You got to do what works best for you. That's what I'm realizing. A lot of things were different a year ago. A lot of things were different 6 months ago before this pandemic. And so, I think the biggest thing for me is, when you feel like you need help, ask for help, and probably ask for help before you feel like you need help. So I'm constantly asking for help, telling my mom, hey, I need you. Like, this is not working. I've hit and be honest with yourself. When you've hit a wall, just slow it down. I think some other tactics that I've used, like, I can't do meetings now before noon. Like, it just doesn't work for my schedule. Like, my son's schedule is so unpredictable right now. Especially again with this pandemic. Now we're in a new normal this week. My husband is back to, virtually teaching. So he's unavailable from 8 to 1 every day. So, it's doing what's best for you. They say, don't put your child sitting in front of the TV. If dishes need to be washed, if I need to cook dinner, if I need to use the restroom, and Elmo is what occupies him right now, he's going to get Elmo. Like, I have to do what's best for me. And like you stated, grace, I have to give myself grace. We're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
And like I said, if things don't get done today, work will wait on you. It can get done tomorrow. And it's not an emergency. And I think that's what I've given myself grace each day. Like, Jay, you can't overplan this. Who knows what's going to happen? You can't be in control of everything. And I think that's when I've been able to continually tell myself that. It's every day is an easier step for me as I try to, and I don't think there's a balance. I think that I call it living in harmony. So you got your work over here, you got your married life over here, you got your mom, trying to be a mom over here. And be a best friend and be a sister, all these different hats that we play. And I think they all have to just kind of live in harmony as much as possible. But there's no balance because one thing will always take priority over another. My son will always be a priority. My husband will absolutely sometimes.
Tell the truth.
Let's be honest. Sometimes be a priority. So, but it's just you have to do what works best for you. And again, I just took a roundabout way of saying all of that, but I don't think there's a cookie cutter approach, and every day looks different for me.
No, that is so good. That is so good. You got a whole lot of agreement in the chat, and I love that you were doing this because, and I love your word harmony. What I typically call it is integration, right? Because oftentimes we try to compartmentalize our lives as if, especially now, COVID just took all of the compartmentalization out of everything. You got to do everything at home, but we try to, put work over here and family over here and try to look and see if they're balanced and all of that. I have learned now my children need to know what's happening over here. They need to understand what mommy is doing so that they can learn from it. They can respect it. They can model it, those kinds of things. So when we have Real Women Sister circles, they might be in a corner somewhere or in the circle, because integration means I'm not trying to be different people to different entities all at the same time. I'm being me, and I'm bringing all of this with me. Y'all gonna have to work together because there's only one of me, and we got to get all of this done. So I love that. It really has upended our lives, Adina. Thank you for sharing that. And I love what Nancy said. What works today may not work tomorrow. So as you said, give ourselves grace and know that your journey is your journey. And I'll just kind of go back to where we started to close things out. Your race is your race. It is not anybody else's race. We are not competing against anybody else. We really are just running the best race we can run. And so with that being said, I would love for you to just close out sharing some things about Black Girls Run, anything you want us to know. I think about some of the women in our community who my knees, I'm overweight, and we got a whole lot of things that we would say that would hinder us from getting out and moving more. So anything you want to share about Black Girls Run as encouragement to connect with you all, as well as any information or events or anything you have coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So Black Girls Run, we continually welcome people into our tribe, if you will. And if you're one of those people, where everything is going to be, an excuse or keep you from coming out, we got to do a mental check to make sure that we're in a healthy space. We also have to understand that our Black community, the health disparities are impacting us the most. And so we have to start making some changes, starting with our babies, going through our teenage age. So, I just did a state of Black women's health earlier today that will be airing next week on our Facebook page. And, not to throw research out there, but 18 to 35 is the fastest growing group of Black women right now that's the most unhealthiest. So we have to do something to change what's going on in the Black community. If it's not one thing, something else is going to kill us. Like So we have to change things. So we invite everyone to come out to Black Girls Run to join us. I can promise you, we have 74 groups across the country, a group of 190 ambassadors that are ready to really hold your hand and take you to the next step. And it just requires, we just want you to move. You don't have to run a mile. I just want you to go from this stop sign to that stop sign, or from this bush to that bush. Whatever you can do, just move. Park a little bit further in Target parking lot. Where you have to walk into the store. Take the steps today to do work. Just those small steps, I think, will help really start changing this narrative of what it looks like for just our Black community and for just Black women, period. And so please, join at blackgirlsrun.com. Like I said, we have 74 groups across the country. And then personally, I have my PR firm. I also, during my postpartum stint or whatever early motherhood days, I also wrote a children's book. So I had a little bit of creativity going on at the beginning of this pandemic. So please, get my children's book. I think it's a great story. It's a love letter basically from my son to me, because I felt like he was probably one of the few people that even as a infant, he could really understand what mommy was going through.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Even while he just wailed.
Yeah.
Like he could just feel my energy. And so I have a children's book called Dear Mommy, I Love You. But Black Girls Run, race season is over for 2020. This pandemic has wreaked havoc on this industry of mass gatherings. So we're doing a lot of virtual challenges. People can still join. We're doing a lot of water challenge, steps challenge, just things to keep women engaged and active during this time. Trying to keep people just in a healthy state of mind just as much as possible, knowing that we will get through this. This is just a temporary normal is what I say. And so please just join us. We definitely encourage you. We'll have virtuals going through the end of the year, and then hopefully 2021 we will be reconvening in terms of our big events. But yeah, welcome everyone on the pavement with us.
I love that. And one thing I heard you say is so important. Like if run scares you, walk. If run scares you, swim. If run scares you, take the steps, do something, just move. I love that, because taking one step will become easier the more you do it, and you'll be able to do more gradually. Thank you for sharing all of those things. Y'all, it has been a pleasure to connect. I would love for you, when you get a chance, JL, to go back, because so much love has been poured on you.
I will.
And we'll make sure we share the links and everything. But you all know how to find blackgirlsrun.com. JL's children's book. I love that. That's a love letter from your child to you. I absolutely love that. I'm going to make sure I get that. And thank you for this time with us.
Thank you for the invitation and having me.
Absolutely. Anytime. You all, this has been our Wednesday night Facebook Live chat, and we do this every Wednesday that we have a guest. This is Real Women Rock, because we do. And this is our safe space to create a safe space for women to do personal development work on themselves. We've always met in person in the DC, Maryland, Virginia, Northern Virginia, and Hampton Roads, Virginia area. And our All Access members have met virtually since we started. We now open our virtual doors to all of you to meet with us twice a month. And this coming Saturday is our very next one at 11 a.m. You can find all of that information at realwomenrock.org. We hope to see you on Saturday, and then we'll be back here with you again on Wednesday night. And I'll give you an informal thank you in just a few minutes, JL. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right, y'all take care. Black Girls Run.